Martha Jenkins had always been a woman defined not by her circumstances but by the way she defied them, and at the age of 48, she had grown accustomed to being underestimated by the world around her, whether it was the sideways comments from colleagues who thought she was too old to keep up with the younger hires, the family members who whispered behind her back that she should settle down into something easier and gentler, or even the glances from strangers on the street who assumed her toned arms and upright posture were some rare accident of good genetics rather than the hard-won result of years of sweat-soaked mornings in the weight room, because truth be told, Martha had lived a life that demanded strength long before she ever found herself in a gym surrounded by sneering 20-year-olds who thought lifting weights was the exclusive right of the young and invincible. She had grown up in a working-class family where money was scarce but determination was abundant, had raised 3 children on her own after her husband vanished into the wind one rainy night with a suitcase and no explanation, had taken double shifts as a nurse and grocery cashier just to keep food on the table, had buried her mother after a long battle with cancer, and through it all she had discovered that her only true sanctuary was the iron, those cold, unyielding plates and bars that never lied to her, never mocked her, never betrayed her, but only gave her back what she poured into them, and so lifting had become her therapy, her rebellion, her declaration that she was still alive and stronger than she had ever been. And yet, despite all that, the gym she had joined last month was full of swaggering boys with snapbacks turned backward and voices dripping with condescension, the kind who crowded around the bench press taking endless videos of each other's sloppy reps, the kind who thought fitness was measured in how loud you dropped the weights or how tight your tank top clung to your chest. And when Martha walked in on that particular Wednesday morning, wearing her plain black leggings, a simple gray t-shirt, and her hair pulled back into a practical bun, she could feel the eyes on her before she even reached the squat rack, the whispers starting as small chuckles that built into outright snickers when she began loading plates onto the bar, because to them it was laughable. What was this middle-aged woman doing taking up their equipment when surely she belonged on a treadmill at best, or in some gentle yoga class at worst? One of the boys, tall and broad-shouldered but with the kind of fake muscle that came from ego lifting, muttered loudly enough for everyone to hear, "Careful, Grandma, don't throw your hip out," sending his friends into hysterical laughter, and Martha, though her ears burned with humiliation, simply kept adjusting the bar, checking her form in the mirror, reminding herself that she hadn't come here to win their approval. She had come here to challenge herself, but still the sting of their mockery lingered because it wasn't the first time she had been reduced to her age by people who didn't understand that every year she had survived had forged her into something stronger than they could imagine. She thought of the years she'd spent carrying her children in her arms after double shifts, of the countless groceries hauled up 3 flights of stairs when no one offered to help, of the days she had scrubbed hospital floors until her back ached but still went home to cook dinner, and she realized that she had been lifting heavy long before she ever touched a barbell, and maybe it was time to remind the world of that truth. So she gripped the bar, slid under it, steadied her breath, and let her body remember the countless mornings before sunrise when she had trained alone, no audience, no applause, just determination, and when she unracked the bar and dropped into a deep, controlled squat, the air seemed to thicken around her, the laughter cutting short as the weight moved smoothly on her shoulders, her muscles firing with practiced precision. And when she rose back up without so much as a wobble, there was a hush in the room, an almost embarrassed silence as if everyone realized at once that they had misjudged her. But Martha wasn't finished. She racked the bar, added more plates, and repeated the lift, her focus narrowing until the whispers faded into nothing, and by the time she had completed her 5th flawless rep at a weight most of those boys couldn't dream of lifting, the entire gym stood still, dumbbells half raised, mouths half open, and even the trainer who had been leaning against the wall with folded arms now stepped forward with a look of astonishment. Martha wiped her forehead with her towel, glanced around at the room full of stunned faces, and though a part of her wanted to shout at them, to call out their arrogance, she instead let her actions speak louder than any insult could, because she knew that silence, the heavy, humbling silence that followed her performance, was the greatest revenge of all. Still, one of the boys, desperate to save face, muttered weakly, "Yeah, but anyone can squat if they practice enough," to which Martha turned, smiled with a calm that rattled his false bravado, and replied, "Exactly, if they practice, if they show up, if they don't quit when life gets hard," and her words, simple yet piercing, landed heavier than any weight in the room, leaving the young men speechless as she gathered her bag and walked past them, head held high, knowing that she had not only silenced the gym but planted a seed that might one day grow into respect, because for the first time those boys had seen that strength wasn't about youth or bravado, it was about resilience, about showing up day after day, year after year, no matter who doubted you, no matter who laughed, and as Martha stepped out into the cool morning air, she felt a surge of pride not in the weight she had lifted but in the truth she had lived. That sometimes the greatest victory is not in proving others wrong, but in reminding yourself that you have always been right about what you are capable of, and as the sun rose higher over the city, Martha knew that this was only the beginning of a story that would echo far beyond the four walls of that gym, a story of defiance, strength, and the unstoppable spirit of a woman who refused to be defined by her age.